What's going on, guys? Back at you with another video. And of course, as soon as the video starts, y'all give me a moment. I had to get me a drink. My throat's real dry. Today, I'm going to be talking about this knife. This is the Harnds. I'm probably not pronouncing that right. I don't know. Harnds Warrior. You can see right there, Warrior. Got some lube on the run. The coating on this blade is super slick, and the pivot lube always tries to run. Big knife, chunky knife. I like it. I like it a lot. Harnds Warrior. I know I'm gonna butcher that name. I got this knife off Amazon here a couple weeks ago. I got it in a couple weeks ago. Haven't really used it. Haven't done anything crazy with it. I haven't chopped down trees with it, but I have carried it a good bit. I've used it enough to get an idea of it. Again, long-term longevity of a knife like this, who knows, you know, but that's what I'll touch on. I ordered this knife off of Amazon, and it was $33.49. $33.49. Made in China. You know, is what it is. So long-term longevity on a knife like this, who really cares? It's $33. You know, if you get a year out of it, you've got your money's worth out of it. Throw it away, get another one. Got it off Amazon, 33 bucks. It's a big knife. Blade length on this guy. The specs I'm going to quote you on this knife are my specs. As I read over the specs on this knife on the website, they just didn't sound right to me, so I took a measuring tape to it, and they were not correct. So I will give you my specs on this knife. Blade length, 4 inches. Handle length is 5.375 inches. And the overall length, tip to butt, is 9.25 inches. So good, chunky, solid, large folder. Weight on this guy is 6.9 ounces. So 6.9 ounces, getting on up there on the weight scale on the heavier side. I've got heavier, I've got lighter, but 6.9 ounces. The blade on this guy is D2. As you can see right there, D2. How good is the D2 from Harnds or whoever actually makes this knife? Who knows? It's the Harnds name that's on it, but who knows what factory in China this knife was made in. How's the quality of the D2? Well, so far it's held up pretty good. I mean, again, I haven't done anything crazy with this knife, but I've been using it for normal EDC tasks for a couple weeks now, and it's still sharp. And this knife actually came shaving sharp. I know that's not the end-all be-all of a knife blade, but for a Chinese-made knife at $33, if you can get it shaving sharp, that's pretty impressive. I mean, and it's held that edge this whole time. It's still shaving sharp right now. Like I said, I've used it quite a bit. So good on Harnds for that. Seems like the D2 is holding up well. Again, long-term use, who knows? But for now, it's doing pretty good. It is a drop point blade with a swedge up top. Good utility blade shape. Utility blade shape could be used as a tactical, I hate that word. I hate even saying that word. People deterrent blade, if need be. It could function in that role. It's certainly big enough. It's a really good blade shape though. Down here on the bottom, you actually get a really good flat all the way until about right here, and then you get a lot of belly out towards that tip. Really good blade shape. Very utilitarian, very useful blade shape. This knife that I got, this version of the Warrior is coated. It is a sort of medium tone gray coating. I'm not sure what the coating is. I should have looked. I didn't make a note up before the video. I'm sorry about that. But again, I always link the knife of the video down in the description on where I bought it, so you can hop on Amazon and check it out for yourself if you want to. Maybe they have it listed there, I'm not sure. But it seems like a fairly decent coating. It's not, it's nothing to write home about, but it's not bad. Nothing wrong with it. And of course, D2, I'd rather have some type of coating than no coating at all. But again, you can get this knife in different versions. There's this version with the gray blade and the green handle. There's one with a black handle and a black blade, I'm wanting to say. I'm quoting this off memory, guys, so forgive me on that. But there's 2 or 3 different color variations you can get this knife in. This isn't the only one. But this knife is a thumb stud or flipper. It works fine either way. Thumb stud, perfectly fine, and flipper, perfectly fine. I give it a little wrist flick there. That's not intended. Works good either way. It's actually a pretty smooth action, especially for a $33 knife. It's not a custom action. It's not drop shut. You can shake it shut. But for a $33 knife, the action on it is pretty good. I know I don't always mention this in every video just because I always forget. This knife runs on phosphor bronze, so that's decent. Do y'all hear that? I'm sorry. Alexa, stop. Alexa, cancel all my alarms.
Canceling all your alarms.
Gosh, can y'all believe that? Can y'all believe that? Somebody left alarms set. Who would do such a thing? Anyway, back to the knife. Sad I got sidetracked. I don't remember what I was talking about. Oh yeah, phosphor bronze. Got phosphor bronze. Pretty good. A lot of budget knives in this category. They may try to give you nylon washers. That's neither here nor there. Take your pick. But it is nice. The action on it's pretty good. The handle on this knife, G10. I got the green G10. It's pretty good. It's not. This is kind of just right texturing for me as far as G10 goes. I've had some knives that were G10 that were still way too slick, and then you also have the other end of the spectrum like cold steel where it will just absolutely shred anything it touches. I think this knife strikes a happy medium. It's still plenty grippy enough for what it is. Did a pretty good job with that. This knife is a liner lock, as you can see there. Why am I not focusing? It's a liner lock, and it does have stainless steel liners all the way through. And the liners, as you can see, are coated in the same material the blade is. Same coating, same material all the way through. And this knife, again, I'm sorry for the lighting. I always mean to bring my flashlight, but I never remember to. I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not. But this knife does have a lot of skeletonization. They really milled those liners out just about as much as they possibly could to try to save on weight. So good job for them for that. Again, at a $33 price point, they could have skipped that and nobody probably would have said anything to them otherwise. So good job on them for milling them liners out, try to save some weight. This does have a back spacer. It's a G10 back spacer. Why am I not focusing? There we go. Kind of. G10 back spacer, color match to the handle scales. So this one has a green spacer, again, to go with the knife. And sort of interesting, the back spacer is milled up here, and then it follows through all the way down to the butt end of the knife. As you can see there, that is milled. The handle scales, the back spacer, and the liners are all milled the same right there. That little gear pattern looks good. It's not really functional for anything, but it looks nice. Good little touch that they didn't really have to put in there. And that jimping does go all the way around to the front side of the knife as well. Not all the way down, but down here where your pinky finger will be, you got some more jimping there. Again, that's really just aesthetic. I mean, you do get some traction out of it, but it's really for looks more than anything else. In the pocket clip, this knife is right hand tip up only. That's the only configuration. Obviously, there's nothing up here, and then there's nothing on this side. Right hand tip up only is your only configuration. And yay, you get a lanyard hole, whoop-de-doo. Overall thoughts on the knife. It's really good. I mean, for $33. I mean, and that's as of this point in time. Again, I've only had this knife for a couple weeks. I've only carried it, I've probably carried it 10 times or something like that. And it's held up fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It could fall apart tomorrow. Who knows? But just like many of you, before I buy a knife, especially if it's something that's not a really well-known knife, I read a bunch of reviews, and all the Amazon reviews on this knife are really positive. I think off the top of my head, I think, it had 4.5 stars overall reviews or something like that. So, you can take their word for it. You can take my word for it. It's a pretty good knife. The one thing on this knife that I will kind of nitpick, if you can see the liner lock right there, they don't really give you a whole lot of cutout to get your finger up into it, and it's really smooth. This texturing that they put on the blade and on the liners, it's really smooth texturing, and sometimes I kind of really have to dig my thumb up in there to get that liner actuated. I'd like it if they had milled this scale out just a little bit higher to give you a little bit more access to it. Would have been nice, but again, $33 price point, you can't complain too much. Overall, not bad. I really like the knife. I think it's a good design. Is this ripping off another design? I don't know. I couldn't tell you for sure, but to me and to my eyes, it just kind of looks like a fairly generic, knife design. But it works. I mean, the ergonomics are good. Again, I wear an extra large glove. The handle is plenty big enough. I still got a little bit hanging out the butt there. Decent thumb ramp. The jimping on this, it's superficial, really. I mean, it's there and it's actually fairly deep, but it's really rounded off. And with this coating on this blade, it's really slick. So, you may be able to get something out of it. You may not. And they did put jimping a little further out onto the blade, even though I wouldn't really use that on this knife, I don't think. It is nice that it's there. I hate it when companies only give you a 1/4 inch of jimping onto the blade, where your thumb is never naturally going to sit. But overall, I like the knife. And there are small things that I've noticed that, again, for a $33 knife, they could have not done, but they did anyway, and it really kind of adds to the quality. Stuff like milling the liners and stuff like that. All this milling right here, again, although I think that's unnecessary because it's not really serving a purpose, that was an extra step they took. They didn't have to do that, I guess, just to add some aesthetic to it. And overall, every corner and edge on this knife, like you can see it on the flipper tab right there, every corner and edge on this knife is rounded off. There are no sharp corners anywhere on this knife. On the scales, on the blade, on the flipper tab, every corner and edge on this knife is rounded off completely. I mean, even including the face of the flipper tab right there. I mean, all these are rounded too. It's just little steps like that really contribute to getting me excited about a knife. At $33, that's something that they could have just skipped altogether and didn't really worry about. They could have shipped this knife out of the factory with a bunch of sharp edges and hot spots, and they didn't do it. They took the time and the effort to go through and round off every corner on this knife. So good job, Harnds. And Harnds, this is the only knife of theirs that I've ever had. They do have some more knives. They do have some different knives on Amazon. I may pick one of those up down the road. I'm not sure. But from what I can see here, and the limited use I've had of this knife so far, it's a solid knife. I mean, especially for $33. I mean, if you're somebody who likes a bigger knife, or you need a bigger knife for work or something like that, but you don't want to spend a bunch of money on a knife that you're going to beat up anyway, this is a good option. Like I said, to me, and I'll bring it in now, this falls into the same category for me as the Cold Steel Recon 1. They kind of fill the same role for me. They're just a solid, you know, beater knife that you don't have to baby, you know, and all that. But this does it at $33, whereas the Recon 1 does it at $100. So, you know, just something to consider. Overall, it's a great knife, though. I really like it. There's really nothing that I can point out, you know, right out of the gate besides the limited access to the liner lock right here. There's really nothing else I can pick about it. I mean, overall, it's a solid knife. It could do anything, you know, anything that you would really need it to do, it could probably do it. And well, I guess I'll pick on this too. This pocket clip, I kind of like it and I kind of hate it. I kind of go both ways on it. I don't know. It's not a good looking pocket clip in my opinion. It's a really generic looking pocket clip, and I could have gone without them stamping Harnds into it right there. But overall, it's a good clip. I mean, it's not a deep carry clip. You're going to have, you know, that much knife sticking up out of your pocket. That's probably an inch or half an inch or 5/8 of an inch of knife hanging up out of your pocket. If that's a big deal to you, I don't really care. But it's not really an attractive pocket clip. And again, $33. You know, beggars can't be choosers. But that's really the only thing I could pick on this knife. I don't like the way the pocket clip looks and the limited access to the liner. But outside of that, I think it's a good looking knife. I think it's good looking, it's ergonomic, it's comfortable, it carries good, it's a chunky knife. I mean, you know, if you're okay with that, great. I don't know what the thickness is on this knife off the top of my head. I would say it's probably a little over half an inch if I had to guess. Just by eyeballing it, I guess I've got, luckily right here beside me. Let's take a look. And I'm just going to tell you from my eyes, 5/8 of an inch. I don't know if you can see that, but on my tape, it is showing 5/8 of an inch wide. So a little bit thicker than a lot of knives. And I guess I'll show it because I had it here for size comparison. The width compared to the Cold Steel Recon 1, you can see it's a good bit thicker than the Recon 1. If you line them up, I don't know how well those are going to be lined up for you, but if you can see, it's a chunky knife. But the Recon 1 is actually pretty thin. It's actually really thin for what it is. It's a chunky knife. It's a big knife. It's going to be a heavier knife. You notice it in your pocket, but it's not uncomfortable. It's not uncomfortable to carry at all, but it is a big knife, and you do know it's there. I kind of like that, though. Overall, thumbs up Harnds. You know, if this knife broke tomorrow, I may do an update video and let you know. I may not. Again, it's a $33 knife, so, you know, if I get, you know, 6 months to a year out of it, you know, I feel like I've got my money's worth out of it. You know, job well done. If I want another one, just get on buy another one. But it's really all I had to say on this knife. Again, if you're just looking for a good kind of larger budget thumper knife and you didn't want to spend a fortune, $33, I think that's a great deal on this one. And I guess just for size comparisons, I'll throw a few more up right here. That is it. Next to the Recon 1, overall, if you have a Recon 1, overall, they are almost identical in overall length. Again, the Harnds is going to be thicker and heavier than the Recon 1, but as far as the overall size, you know, blade length, you know, and all that taken into account, these are basically the exact same size. I guess I'll throw another larger size EDC knife up there. See Spyderco PM2. You can see the Harnds is probably, I don't know, probably an inch longer overall than the PM2. Overall, good, chunky, hardy knife. You can thump on it and not feel guilty about it. Highly recommend. And again, $33 on Amazon. You really can't complain about it. I'm going to wrap the video up here, guys. Keep recording. I'm going to be late to work. Remember, if you like the video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Again, I try to post 1 to 2 times a week, depending on work, you know, my schedule, what life allows. And I want to let you know I'm leaving to go to Universal Studios in Orlando in about a week's time or something like that. So during that week, I won't be posting any videos, try to spend some time with the family, all that good stuff. So I will be out for a week. I'm going to try to get some extra videos filmed before then to have a little bit of a backlog. That way I do have something to post for that week. But that may or may not work out. So we'll just see how it goes. So if I'm off for a week, that is why. But again, guys, overall, great knife. Highly recommend it. There we go. G-Shock, Casio, highly recommend. Don't know if you're a watch guy. I know everybody's heard of G-Shock. Casio's analog G-Shocks are the tits. $45. This knife is the bomb. I've had it for forever. Sorry, little plug there. Again, guys, appreciate you watching the video. Like, subscribe. We'll see y'all next time. Y'all be safe and y'all take it easy. See y'all.